Boom on Sports. You know, we're well into the football season, almost, counting week 0, 3 weeks into the college football, 2 weeks. Well, we're going into the second week tomorrow for the NFL because it's Thursday night football. And I had an interesting thought. How do we manage our expectations when a team is undefeated versus what is a really good team? And so I thought about that because, the 49ers, they look good. The Cowboys, they look good. Cowboys, let's say that again. The Cowboys look good. We go back to college. Colorado is looking way better than they did last year, or way better than what people expected. USC looks like it's back. It's been a while since we could really say USC is USC. They got some players out there that look really, really good. The Texas won. They beat Alabama. They beat them soundly. Not even like a close nail biter. And even my hometown, Rutgers, are 2-0 right now. So my first thought was, when do we say can we claim a team is undefeated? Like you hear that term like undefeated all the time, right? Like when we think about boxing, like, he's won 6-7 fights. Is he undefeated, or do we still have more cachet? Do we need more victories to say somebody's undefeated? Now, the term undefeated means that you haven't taken a loss, but the title of undefeated, however, I thought about it. I was like, when do we really say, all right, that you listen to the sportscasters or the color analyst and they say, well, the undefeated such and such are taking the field, and you're like, okay, what number of victories do you really count that? Like, all right, so I was thinking, like, in college football, I think it should be at least 5-0. 5-0, because that means that because the way college football is set up, you probably played some non-conference opponents. Hopefully you didn't play too many cupcakes, because then those don't really count. But if you play one cupcake and then 3, of status teams, and then maybe 1 or 2 conference opponents, I think 5-0 is a great number. And the NFL, I think you got to get to like 7, 8 wins, undefeated. I don't care what type of wins they are, close, tight, because the NFL has a lot of parity. I think that you need to get to at least 7 to 8 wins before you can claim the undefeated status. Now, you can be unbeaten, obviously, but I really feel that the opponent matters. Who you play matters. It's just like a boxer. Like, if you beat a bunch of nobodies and you walking around and you're like, well, he's undefeated, or he's 7-0, but you beat like some powder puffs, like, is that really something that you can claim? Something that you really want to hang on your title? Except for Floyd, like, he can do whatever he wants, right? Because he got all the money, right? But that is something I really had to spend some time thinking about. Like, the 49ers look good. Like, they went into Pittsburgh and really, for the better part, spanked the Steelers, and they didn't even have like Joey Bosa at full speed, really just going hard like he's supposed to, at full strength, and they just look good. Brock Purdy looked good. I'm not a 49ers fan at all, but I'm like, dang, I'm not gonna have to hear these Niners fans talk about the Cowboys all season if they continue to play good, because then it's gonna be like, oh, well, y'all undefeated until y'all play us, right? And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. The Cowboys, woo, they spanked the Giants this weekend. It's interesting, I don't want to get too high. I told y'all last week, I'm not the obnoxious, delusional Cowboys fan, but I mean, 49-0. First off, skunking a team, that's really, really hard to do. Like, if you can skunk a team in the NFL with as many good players that are in the NFL, that's really, really hard to do. Shout out to our defense for doing what they needed to do. Shout out to Tony Pollard for really showing up and doing what they needed to do. Now, I do think the rain and the weather played a factor in that victory. At the same time, like still, like we could have had some mistakes and we should have did, but for the amount of points that we scored, 40-0. Whew, I'm on cloud, not 9 because I ain't there yet, but we do that a couple more times. I might be on cloud 9, but then I'm gonna have to stop watching Cowboys games because I just don't want to lose that feeling. It's been a while since y'all already know. I haven't won since the 90s and all this other BS. So that's something to really look forward. But I'm gonna take it one game at a time, one day at a time. Colorado, they played a tough Nebraska defense. I'm more so focused on Nebraska defense versus the Colorado offense. They really held it down for about 2.5 quarters, but then Colorado found their rhythm and they got loose, and that was that. And it was good to see. You know what I mean? I was a little nervous watching them because I was like, all right, we're gonna see. Week 1 is like, all right, you can surprise some people. Week 2, we got film on you. Now, how are you gonna react? How are you going to show up at that game? And then I was also, I watched it Well Off Media pretty much every day, and you get a sense of the vibe of the team, and you're like, I hope their heads aren't getting too high. You know what I mean? The one receiver, Jimmy, I want to say, what was it? Jimmy Horn. He said something about America's team and he got kind of caught in that with that surprise question. And he kind of fed into it, and I was like, yeah, that you gotta have a little bit of humility. And I mean, if you gonna talk that talk, then walk the walk, which they did. But they still surprised me. I do see them beating Colorado State this weekend, and at the same time, they got to stay humble and stay in the game and make sure they stay focused on Colorado State and don't look ahead to Oregon or any other team, because I mean, at the end of the day, like, that you don't want to be the one that lost to Colorado State. Now you got to go in with all the storylines, with all the cachet that they built up and everything like that. Right now, with the way they're looking, I could see them easily getting the 8-9 wins. I think that's really dope. I just see them having, even if they don't have the depth, they have the attitude of a team that really, really wants it. And they have the spotlight, and that spotlight sometimes brings pressure. I often think about my Cowboys when Dak Prescott first stepped on the scene, and he had the spotlight of playing good and Tony Romo being on his back. And sometimes you need that monkey on your back to propel you to keep going forward and not get comfortable. The comfort place is a place where things go to die. And so you want to make sure you have that monkey on your back, that constant pressure, that level of focus that keeps you right where you need to be so that you can continue to excel. USC, I mean, they got that one receiver Branch. He's a problem. He's a problem. They got Jerry Rice's son. They have a couple other receivers, and obviously Lincoln Riley knows what he's doing out there in Southern SoCal, and it's gonna be interesting to watch. You know what I mean? I'm trying not to look ahead because Colorado has to play Oregon, which is going to be a problem.